Combat sports are going back to their roots. They're going back to a time when there was no rules, no weight classes, and no gloves. They're going back to a time where it was just men fighting other men with nothing but their fists. It's hard to imagine today's boxers fighting like this, but this is how it all started. This is bare-knuckle boxing. This sport has been around since the beginning of human history. There were no rules and no referees. If you wanted to fight, you just took someone down and beat them up until they couldn't fight anymore. But that was then. What about now? How does bare-knuckle boxing work today? Is this just a brutal throwback? Or is this the future of combat sports? There are several bare-knuckle fighting organizations in the world today, but by far the biggest is Bare-Knuckle Fighting Championship, or BKFC. And though this modern version of the sport may seem brutal and bloody, it's actually less dangerous than you might think. So what are the rules of bare-knuckle boxing? How do fighters protect themselves from serious injury? And why is everyone talking about the bare-knuckle diet? Let's take a look at the rules of bare-knuckle boxing. Fists are the only weapons allowed. No elbows, knees, headbutts, or biting. And a fight can end only by knockout or by decision from the judges. There are 4 rounds, 3 minutes each, and the winner is the fighter who lands the most knockouts or the one who lands the most punches during the fight. A knockout still ends the fight, but a knockout means that the fight ends right there. It means if one of the fighters is knocked out, the fight is over. But if neither fighter gets knocked out, the fight goes to the judges, and whoever has landed more punches wins. In the past, fights could go on for hours, even days. But today, a bare-knuckle fight can last anywhere between 2 and 36 minutes. Fighters can't gouge out each other's eyes, bite off each other's noses, or try to rip out each other's hair. They also can't use the ropes to choke their opponent or hold them in any way, and they can't wear shoes or use any type of headgear. These are the basics, but what about cuts and bleeding? After all, bare-knuckle boxing is a very violent sport. Well, there are some rules about that. For example, if a cut is deep enough to expose bone or tendons, or if a fighter has both eyes cut, the fight will stop and the injured fighter will lose. In addition, if a fighter's blood is getting into his eyes, the ref has the power to stop the fight. And believe us, when we say this happens often. Blood is everywhere in bare-knuckle boxing. If it gets in someone's eyes, they can't continue fighting. What about teeth? Can a fighter lose because of a missing tooth? Well, not really. Tooth can come out during a fight, but it won't automatically end it. Unless it's exposing bone, it's not an immediate loss. Now, what about those gloves? Why isn't anyone wearing gloves? Gloves are what make boxing so fascinating to watch. They allow fighters to throw punches without hurting their hands, and they make for a cleaner fight with less blood. So why don't bare-knuckle boxers wear gloves? Well, it all has to do with authenticity. Bare-knuckle boxing is all about going back to the roots of the sport. It's about going back to a time when there were no rules, no weight classes, and no gloves. It's about letting fighters express themselves in the most natural way possible. Because of that, there's a whole different kind of strategy involved in bare-knuckle boxing. If you want to throw a punch in traditional boxing, you have to keep your guard up. If you lower your guard, you're going to get hit. In bare-knuckle boxing, it's the opposite. You have to lower your guard to throw a punch. If you don't, you'll never be able to hit your opponent. But if you're worried that these fighters are going to break their hands, don't be. They train hard to avoid that. Plus, if they did break their hands, the fight would stop. No broken bones, no fight. Now let's talk about the bare-knuckle diet. This is where things get really interesting. If you're going to fight someone bare-knuckle, you better be prepared. You need to have a game plan. And part of that game plan should include how you're going to deal with the pain. You see, when you get hit in the face, it hurts. And if you flinch, you're going to make yourself an easier target. So fighters train themselves to have a high pain tolerance. They learn how to take a punch and keep their eye on the prize. And if you're wondering how they do this, it's simple. They go into the ring before the fight and get punched in the face as hard as they can. They do this over and over again until the fight. It's called the bare-knuckle diet. It's the best way to train yourself to take a punch. Some people have a natural high pain tolerance, but everyone can learn how to get punched in the face and not flinch. It just takes a lot of practice. So how much money can a bare-knuckle boxer make? Well, it all depends on their record. If they're undefeated, they're going to make a lot of money. They'll be fighting in front of huge crowds, and they'll be making lots of pay-per-view dollars. But if they have a losing record, well, they're not going to be making as much money. In fact, they might even be fighting for free. It's all about supply and demand. If there's a high demand for a fighter and a low supply, they're going to make a lot of money. But if there's a low demand and a high supply, they're not going to make as much money. That said, the top bare-knuckle boxers in the world today can make millions of dollars per fight. They're the superstars of the sport, and they're the ones who are bringing in the crowds. But the average bare-knuckle boxer doesn't make nearly as much money. In fact, most of them are considered to be independent contractors rather than employees. The Bare-Knuckle Fighting Championship was founded by David Freiheit in 2018. The first event took place on June 2, 2019, and today it's the largest promotion company in the world for professional bare-knuckle boxing. It currently has 12 weight divisions, which range from the lowest weight class of bantamweight, which weighs between 115 and 118 pounds, to the highest weight class of heavyweight, which is 275 pounds and up. The current heavyweight champion is Lorenzo Hunt. He won the title by defeating Adam Solomon at BKFC 41. As we said earlier, the matches are only ended by a knockout or by the decision of the judges. The reason for this is to ensure that the fighters are always giving it their all. If they know that they can lose by decision, they won't be holding back. And if they know that they can win by knockout, they'll be going for the knockout punch. This makes for exciting fights. It's one of the reasons why bare-knuckle boxing is becoming so popular. We hope you enjoyed our overview of bare-knuckle boxing. It's a sport that's growing in popularity, and we think it's here to stay. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, and share this video if you enjoyed it.